Hello again, Pre-Calc students. Sorry this didn't work, but thanks to Audrey and Gus and Luke and everybody else who told me this didn't work, so we'll give this another shot. Here's lesson 1-4. It's fairly brief, and I think you know most of this stuff, but we'll run through it and give you a few examples. So this lesson on writing linear equations, this is one of the more important things that you've learned up to this point in your mathematical career. So we'll go over this fairly quickly. First of all, the forms of linear equations. The slope-intercept form, which you know should look like this. Y equals mx plus b. And of course the two key things here are the m, which of course stands for the slope, and the b, which is the y-intercept. Next, the standard form. This one is the one I say which is all prettied up because there are no fractions or decimals or anything like that in there. This is ax plus by equals c. Our textbook might disagree with this a little bit, and they might have the c on the other side so they have everything equal to 0, but I prefer it this way, and I think most math textbooks would. The a, the b, and the c are all integers. That means nice whole numbers, and we do say that this a value, we like that to be greater than 0. So that leading coefficient should be a positive value. And then finally we have the point slope form. This one's fairly useful, I think. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And this is when you are given a particular point. That point is designated by x1 and y1 in this equation, and you either know or can figure out the slope in this case. Alright, I'm just going to change my pen here a bit wider as I go on to the next slide. So here's first of our examples here. So this just says write the slope-intercept form of the line with slope 2 and passing through the point -3, 2. Well, this is a perfect one to start with, not the slope-intercept form, but I think it would be wise in this case to start with the point slope form, because we do have a point and we do know the slope. So now I just need to fill in the blanks. The things that I need to fill in here are going to be this, the x1 and y1, that's my given point, and then also the slope. The x and y will stay in the equation as x and y. Alright, so I would just rewrite this and I would say y minus 2. 2 is the y coordinate. We know the slope is 2. And then x, I could say x minus -3, because -3 is that x coordinate there. But instead I'm just going to write that as x plus 3. Minus a negative is the same as adding positive. So I'm going to distribute down here a little bit. This is going to be 2x plus 6 and y minus 2. So I just simply need to add 2 to each side to get it in that slope-intercept form. So my final answer here is going to be 2x plus 8. Not too bad. A couple more examples here. Now I want to try to write the standard form of the line through -1, 5 and 2, 3. Standard form is trickier, even though it ends up being the nicest looking of these forms. It's the toughest to get to because you can't just start with the standard form. You have to start with one of the other particular forms. Alright, so I think in this case, first thing I'd like to do is try to figure out what the slope is. And we recall, of course, that the slope is change in y over change in x, like that. And I can do this mentally, or I can actually do it with the values that I have here. I think I'll start with the second one. So it's going to be -3 minus 5. That's my change in y. And then I better also start with this one again. So it's going to be 2 minus -1. So if I do that, I get -8. And on the bottom, minus -1 is +1, so -8/3 is my slope. So now I'm going to go right to the point slope equation to get it in there. So it's going to be y minus, I can use any either of the ordered pairs that I'm given here, so I think I'm going to use this one right here. Y minus 5, the slope is negative 8/3, I'll plop that in there. And then it's going to be x minus a negative 1 or x plus 1. If you can get that far on the problem, that's really good, but now we just have to pretty it up a little bit for the standard form. So I think the first thing I would do is maybe distribute this negative 8/3 here. So negative 8/3 x minus 8/3, like that. And then the last thing I would do is multiply by something that would cancel out my fractions. 3 is going to be what I'm going to choose in this case. So my final answer, or not quite my final answer yet, so I'll have 3y minus 15. When I multiply 3 by these other two items on the right side, the 3's will cancel out. So I'll have negative 8x minus 8. My final answer, then I'm just going to rearrange some stuff, so I'll have 8x plus 3y. Then I'll just add 15 to each side and get 7. So there's my standard form equation. So for sure I would look for a problem like this on the test, a good one to just test your knowledge of a few different forms of these linear equations. Alright, almost done here. Standard form of the equation of the line through -4, -3, and -4, 5. Now we could approach this the same way as we did before. However, if you're sharp, you might recognize something here. And that's something that you might recognize is, notice that the two x coordinates are the same. Whenever that happens, we know we're either going to have a horizontal line or a vertical line. And in this case, it's kind of paradoxical, but because the x values are the same, it's actually going to be not a horizontal line as you might maybe think, but it's going to be a vertical line. And the standard form is simply going to be x equals -4. And that's all you have to do for that. So you can save yourself a lot of gnashing of teeth if you recognize that, because this is a line that doesn't have a slope, undefined slope, and so if you try to go through those other forms, you might get a bit frustrated. Alright, last one here is just a little cartoon, I guess. So most of you are off to a good start, I think, homework-wise, especially when our assignments actually are being done in class. So don't try to do this to your puppies. Alright, hopefully this works, and we'll talk to you guys in class.